Welcome to second episode of Everyday Persian. I'm your host, Michela Lansing. Today I have a really special guest with me, one of my really good friends, Jamal Johnson. Welcome, Jamal. I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you.
Jamal and I used to know each other from working out 10 years ago, so we've been friends for a long time.
We have.
And we've done what? We've done spinning.
Yeah.
Running.
Well, I think you did the spinning, not me.
Weightlifting.
I tried to spin.
Well, lots of fun times we've had. But today, I decided to ask Jamal to come to my house and make Persian chicken and rice with me. Because I think you like it, right?
Listen, I love Middle Eastern food. I love to eat in general. So I'm excited to be here with you, teaching me how to cook this amazing meal that I can take home to my family. So I'm excited.
Imagine he will go home to his wife and make this delicious meal. Good thing, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so please come along with us to make Zereshk polo, which is Persian rice and Persian chicken with a garnish on top that's made of barberries. So we'll teach you how to do this. So join us. So for today's dish, Zereshk polo, I have all the ingredients and I'll go over each one of them with you and I'll tell you how much of each do you need. They're very simple. You can find it at any grocery store. Some of them you might need to reach out to the Persian grocery stores, but it won't be hard if you live in any major city, including LA, New York, Miami, what have you. Or there's always Amazon. You can always find the ingredients on Amazon.com. So for today's cooking, these are the utensils and pots and pans that you need. You need a couple of spoons that are made for Teflon, so basically they're plastic. A serving spoon, not a serving fork for chicken. A small pan for mulberry, to fry the mulberry in. A skillet, I like to use skillet, but you can use any kind of pan you like for chicken, for frying the chicken and cooking the chicken. And then finally, a pot for rice. It definitely has to have a lid. One whole onion. I prefer white onion or yellow onion. About a cup of mulberry, which you can find it at grocery stores, at Persian grocery stores, Middle Eastern grocery stores, or on Amazon.com. 2 cups of basmati rice. I prefer long grain, but either way works. Spices that you'll be using: turmeric, salt, pepper, and saffron, which all of these can be found at your local grocery stores. And most importantly, 2 pounds of chicken, bone-in, skinless. Remember that, bone-in, skinless chicken. I usually buy organic, but either way works just fine. And last but not least, some canola oil for cooking. So once again, chicken, onion, mulberry, basmati rice, spices, pepper, salt, turmeric, and saffron, and a cup of oil. Season the chicken. So we have our seasoning plate here. Salt, pepper, and you kind of work through this so that everything gets a little bit of seasoning on it. Okay, a little bit more salt. And then turmeric. Make sure you get the spices on every bit of the chicken. More turmeric. And then saffron. Ooh! Jamal, you did that, right? That was your doing.
My fault.
All right. So sometimes you see a little bit of extra. Jamal, do you mind cutting this out?
Sure, no problem.
Here, just cut this out.
All right.
Extra fat. I'm not crazy about the extra bits of fat, but I think it's better if we get rid of it. Excellent. So we're going to cut the onion into big chunks and then actually fry it in the pan with the chicken. So here's just chunks of onions. We're also going to use mulberry in this dish. So what we're going to do is we will soak the mulberry. This is how you're going to soak it. You're going to put it in a cup, in a big bowl, and then add hot water here, Jamal. You did hot water.
All right.
Pour the hot water in here, and then you kind of let it sit and soak for about 10 to 15 minutes before you actually fry it in oil. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the chicken and make the rice, and this will be the last part of our cooking. So we have all the rice in a pot, and we're going to wash it before we actually put it on the stove. Please use cold water, and this is how you wash the rice. You drain it, and you wash it again. Drain it so you get all the impurities out of the rice. And then you fill up the rice with water about this much, about the first part of your thumb. About 1/4 of an inch, I would say. And this is what it will look like. Now that you washed the rice and also added water, about 1/4 of an inch water on top, it's time to cook. So let's go to the stove and I'll show you how to turn everything on and start cooking. So rice is on the stove. I'm going to add a pinch of salt to the rice. 3 pinches of salt. And then we're going to move on to the chicken. Okay, so now the chicken is ready, the skillet is hot, the oil is hot. 2 tablespoons of canola oil. Our chicken is seasoned with salt, turmeric, pepper, and saffron, and it's ready to go in the skillet. So what I like to do is first to brown the chicken. So you put the face down, and you start to hear the sizzle. You kind of pack in the chicken face down with, this is the face down. Make sure you get all the oil everywhere. I have about 2 pounds of chicken here, maybe a little bit more. It's about good enough for about 4 to 5 people. They like to eat. So I got this, and then we got the chicken in the skillet face down in a bed of oil. It's cooking in high heat. We want to brown the chicken. You place the onions on the top so that they don't burn. Also, our rice is cooking in water and salt. Rice will take about, I would say, 8 minutes to really cook and elongate. So we're going to wait for that. And chicken also about another 8 minutes, and then we turn them around. And as we turn them around, we end up adding a little bit of water and let it sit and cook.
So it's looking good. It's looking good.
We did it. It's happening.
Absolutely,
so
absolutely.
We got the chicken, Jamal.
Okay.
It's cooking. You want to kind of flip it around a little
bit.
So you don't, yeah, you see how it's nice and brown? That's
yeah.
what you want. Oh, yeah. Okay. So after we cook the rice, it looks like this, but it's still very wet. So what we're going to do, we're going to strain it with water, cold water, and wash off all the extra starch. This gives you that tasty, white, low-calorie rice. Not starchy, but fresh and very light. So you kind of wash off all the starch. If you see, you can see all the starch coming out of here. And then you kind of allow it to strain. Let the water come out. Okay, so now that we have emptied the pot, we add high heat, add a little bit of oil at the bottom. This will give you the crispy rice that everybody likes so much. And move the rice back to the pot. You form a dome. Get the lid. Get a nice little paper towel. You put the paper towel on, you cover the lid, and reduce the heat to medium-high and let it cook for 5 minutes. As you can see, the chicken is doing well. It's slowly cooking, so we'll be ready to eat very shortly. Okay, so it's time to make the mulberry. You heat up a skillet, small one preferably, about a cup of canola oil. You kind of twirl it around so that it heats up immediately. Add the mulberry. It will sizzle. It's a good thing if it sizzles. Grab a non-stick utensil. You kind of toss it in oil. Kind of fry it, but gently. Medium heat. So as this is cooking, you see the mulberry turns color. It becomes shinier and brighter. And then you add a tiny bit of sugar. I usually use white sugar, but I don't have white sugar today, so I'm using it's the regular sugar cane. So a tiny bit of sugar, maybe about 2 tablespoons. And then you add a little bit of white vinegar. White vinegar gives the mulberry that shiny glaze look and a little bit of tartness and a little bit of sweetness. So this topping is a savory sweet topping. So you see the little juice that comes out of it? You want that. You want to have it a little bit juicier than dry. And that's it. You turn it off and let it sit for a few minutes.
Right.
So here we are. Jamal cooked.
I did.
I watched. So here's the rice served in a bowl, mulberry on top, and here's the chicken also in a bowl. It's always nicer to put in a bowl so it stays warm for a longer amount of time. I always like to share my food with all my friends. This is Raphael. He did all the magic today. Of course, Jamal.
Wait a minute. I didn't think that I had to share my
I don't
protein.
know, whatever.
I mean,
this should be just enough for you, right?
Yes.
So here we go. Let's serve and see how it is, okay? Raphael, you get to be the first one.